This is going to blow your mind. Imagine a world where Julius Caesar, the brilliant military strategist and influential Roman leader, was never assassinated on the Ides of March. What would the history of Rome and perhaps the entire world look like today? What if the Republic had transformed under Caesar's guiding hand rather than collapsing in a brutal civil war? Welcome to Infinitia Verity, where we dive into the what-ifs of history, and today's episode asks, what if Julius Caesar had survived? Buckle up for a fascinating ride through alternate history as we explore how the survival of this towering figure might have reshaped the Roman Empire and the trajectory of Western civilization. If you're passionate about uncovering history's greatest mysteries, reimagining alternate paths, and learning how pivotal events shaped our world, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of our deep dives into history's most intriguing what-if scenarios. Segment 1. Rome under Caesar's survival. Julius Caesar was more than just a conqueror. He was a visionary who initiated significant reforms to stabilize Rome, which was on the brink of chaos. Had he survived the Senate's assassination plot, one of the first impacts would have been the continuation of his centralizing policies. He had already reformed the Roman calendar and worked on improving Rome's infrastructure and governance. Without his assassination, these reforms could have expanded further. Caesar's restructuring of the Senate to include more non-Italian representatives would likely have continued, perhaps accelerating the Romanization of newly conquered provinces. This broader inclusivity in the Senate would have changed the dynamics of Roman politics, reducing the hold of the aristocratic elites. Rome could have transitioned into a more centralized state much sooner than it did, setting the foundation for a more bureaucratic empire under Caesar's autocratic rule. Fact 1. Caesar's tax reforms aimed to streamline the corrupt system of tax collection, potentially saving the empire from future financial instability. His centralization of power would have put Rome on a more efficient administrative track. Fact 2. Had Caesar lived longer, he could have further secured Rome's borders through his expansionist campaigns. Some historians speculate that Caesar had planned to invade Parthia, Rome's major eastern rival. His survival might have led to Rome's dominance over the East far earlier than Augustus achieved. Segment 2. Avoiding the Civil Wars. Caesar's assassination unleashed a torrent of civil wars that culminated in the rise of his adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus. Without Caesar's assassination, the need for a violent power struggle between Octavian, Mark Antony, and other figures would have diminished. Caesar, known for his ability to balance the competing ambitions of Rome's powerful men, might have successfully maintained a tenuous peace between them. However, his continued rule could have delayed or entirely avoided the brutal conflict between Antony and Octavian that tore Rome apart for years. Instead, a more gradual transition to a monarchy-like system might have occurred, with Caesar slowly grooming Octavian or another successor, ensuring a smoother and less violent transition of power. Fact 3. Without Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra's fate and that of Egypt might have changed as well. Caesar's alliance and affair with Cleopatra were well known, and it is possible he could have formally annexed Egypt much earlier. Fact 4. Historians speculate that Caesar might have moved the capital of the Roman Empire eastward, perhaps to Alexandria. This shift would have changed the center of Roman culture and power from Italy to Egypt, creating a completely different Roman world. Segment 3. The impact on Roman culture and politics. The longer Caesar ruled, the more he would have reshaped Roman culture. Caesar's popularity with the masses and his policies that benefited the common people, such as distributing land to veterans and providing public games, could have strengthened his power base. His autocratic tendencies would have likely resulted in a more top-down governance model where power was concentrated in one leader's hands. Without the immediate death of the Republic, Roman democracy could have decayed more gradually. Caesar's potential reforms to the Roman legal system, taxation, and military would have fundamentally altered how Rome functioned. The Senate, though filled with loyalists, would have lost much of its influence, setting the stage for a more streamlined and possibly more stable government. Fact 5. Caesar's name became synonymous with leadership. In fact, the titles Tsar in Russia and Kaiser in Germany are derived from his name, showcasing his lasting influence on how we think of rulers. Fact 6. Caesar was a master of propaganda, using public works and games to enhance his popularity. His reign could have led to an era where the emperor became not just a political leader but a central figure in Roman religion, laying the groundwork for the divine emperorships of later Rome. Segment 4. Roman expansion and military dominance. One of Caesar's most significant achievements was his military prowess. Had he survived, his campaigns to expand Rome's borders would have continued, potentially transforming Rome into an even greater global power. He had already conquered Gaul and crossed the Rubicon, defying the Senate's authority and setting the stage for his eventual dictatorship. Surviving the assassination attempt, he might have turned his attention eastward, leading to a decisive victory over Parthia. Caesar's military mind could have also led to the conquest of territories that remained unconquered in his time, such as Germania. His campaigns would have ensured that Rome's influence stretched even further into northern Europe, with the potential for the Romanization of the Germanic tribes, a feat that even Augustus struggled with later on. Fact 7. If Caesar had lived to carry out his military plans, he might have turned the Roman Empire into an even greater naval power, dominating the Mediterranean and pushing Rome's borders to new extremes. Fact 8. With Caesar at the helm, the famed Roman roads and infrastructure would have seen even more expansion, ensuring that Rome remained the center of the ancient world for centuries. Segment 5. The fall of the Roman Republic. Caesar's survival would have likely resulted in the death of the Roman Republic, not through a sudden assassination, but through a slow, calculated process of erosion. His reforms and consolidation of power marked a clear shift from the Republican model. The Senate, though still present, would have had its authority eroded even further, becoming little more than a ceremonial body. However, Caesar's ability to balance autocracy with popularity among the masses meant that his transition to sole rule might have been more accepted than Augustus's eventual principate. Rome would have shifted to an empire sooner, but with less bloodshed, and Caesar might have secured the stability of the empire for future generations. Fact 9. The term Augustus might never have existed. With Caesar's extended reign, Octavian might have inherited the title of Caesar directly, shifting the imperial focus even further. Fact 10. Caesar's extended rule could have led to a period of relative peace within Rome, avoiding the massive civil wars that followed his death, ultimately preserving the lives of tens of thousands of Romans. Conclusion. Thank you for joining us on this exciting journey through history's greatest what if. What if Julius Caesar had survived? It's a question that reminds us of the profound impact individual leaders can have on the course of history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into alternate history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Infinitia Verity, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating explorations into the past. What historical, what if should we explore next? Let us know in the comments below.